She go?
Hello, I'm
Okay.
Susan.
Hi, Dr. Sergie. Welcome. Hi, everybody. Happy January, January
Yay.
2024. And it's January 31st. We are already to the end. And I'm glad that we are having this webinar here with you today, along with our mentors and our future dentists, because, everyone's starting off the year like, I'm going to do this. I got this goal, this resolution. And I think that we kind of ease into this really being thoughtful with what is it, where we are, what is it that we need, what are our goals, and like really figuring this out. And one of the things that research will show, you will achieve your goals more likely if you share them with someone you admire. And we hope that we can, fill in that gap and step into that gap for you and be here as your mentors. So this is what we're going to do. You got some amazing mentors here to kind of work you through the smarter goal setting and some other little tips we're going to add in here. Just because you are here, you get the special sauce to help you achieve these goals, to get you to your ultimate dream, which is to get to dental school. But that's the big dream, right? You know what the final outcome is, but you have to back up and step by step, there are these little baby goals, building habits, things you need to do, changing who you are, changing your mindset so that you can get along and achieve that goal to get into dental school and out successfully. We always want to say we're not just here to get you in school, we want you to get you through school and beyond. So, with that said, I am Dr. Hishaw. I am the founder of Diversity and Dentistry Mentorships. I bring greetings to you from sunny Tucson, Arizona. I am a pediatric dentist and practice owner. And again, I'm just so grateful that I am always here, with our amazing mentors who support us in this mission to help serve you. So I want to just go, well, before we go around, I want to introduce you to our board vice president of diversity and dentistry mentorship student, Dr. Luma Chenyi, who
Hi,
has
everyone.
put this all together for us. She chairs also our programming committee, which involves the mentoring program. So thank you again, everyone, for being here. I can't wait to learn together and grow together with you because I have some goals that I have set and I got to tell people so you can hold me accountable. So, Dr. Chenyi, all yours. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. I'm hoping that when our mentors do get to talk, they get to give themselves, give a little introduction because they will have the chance to go through the letters of like the Smarter Goal Setting Workshop. But thank you so much, Dr. Haishal. I continue to be like humbled by having that opportunity to be able to stand in that gap in the confusion of trying to get into dental school and go through dental school and having people that don't know you. Like most of you have never met any of these mentors, but they're like your greatest cheerleaders. They're rooting for you. So um when they do introduce themselves, a lot of them, someone like Dr. Myriam, Dr. Worrell, like they're always sharing their contact information. Have your pen and paper ready to take down that contact information because believe me, you will need it. But please, for the mentors, if we can get into the program and when we go into the breakout rooms, if you can take the time to introduce yourself, I'll really appreciate it. But in the interest of time, if you all don't mind, if we can get started on the important part, because me personally, I'm not counting January as part of this month. This year, it was my free trial. I'm starting my year tomorrow because there are like so many plans that I needed to make for the year that I did not succeed in doing in January. So I'm starting tomorrow. But as I always joke, there is a lot of things that you have to speak it into existence. You have to know what it is you want to do and be able to, like people talk about manifest destiny, but this is my version of manifest destiny, where you speak what you need into existence. And it is very, as overwhelming as it may sound, um, it is a mindset check. Like you kind of do an audit of yourself and see what you are capable of doing. And then you cast that vision of what you would like to achieve. It is really important to protect your time with your boundaries. A lot of our mentors, as we mentioned, I like overwhelming them. Hi, Dr. Worrell. but but hi, Dr. Worrell. Hi, Dr. Mills. Hi, Dr. Glavash. it is important to protect yourself with boundaries. So while you set your goals, set the boundaries that you need to be able to achieve these goals. I say it is okay to say no. Sometimes it is difficult to say no, especially when the need is greater than you can imagine. Also, there to achieve the goals that you need, you have to set daily, you have to set daily, you have to set like daily limits, like pace yourself in the way that you can achieve it. But the most important part of goals, if you have that goal, you have that plan, you have everything. If you don't have accountability, don't bother. You need to find someone that you can be accountable to. Find someone, something, some situation of that accountability, be able to be accountable to something, to someone, because otherwise you're writing those plans or writing those goals for nothing. So without further ado, our amazing mentors have chosen a letter of the SMART-E goals. It is called SMART-E goals, but each of those letters stand for something important that you will need to use in order to set these achievable goals. So if I can please have the mentors get ready with what they want to talk about. As usual, I am starting with Dr. Myriam. She's amazing. If you don't have your pen and paper out, please start writing, because to me, almost everything she says is quotable. Almost everything she says is something that you have to look back on. So as we go through these letters of the SMART-E goals, please, we did send out the PDF. Like once you signed up, you did receive a PDF version of the workbook. If you don't have it, Kim is available to send it to you. But it's just important, like while you're talking about it, while that inspiration is still fresh in your mind, to write it down. And then when you do have some time, goals are very fluid. When you do have some time, adjust it to what your reality is. But it is important to write it down. And I will hand it over to Dr. Glavash. Thank you, Dr. Myriam.
Hi, guys. My mic is still working, right? Okay, just making sure. So I'm Dr. Glavash. I'm going to go over the first letter, S for specific.
If you don't mind, please giving an introduction about yourself and the amazing
okay.
work you're doing in Lubbock as well.
Yes, I'm a board certified pediatric dentist. I work in Lubbock, Texas, which is Texas Tech University area. And I wanted to give back, found Dr. Hishaw, joined this, and I did general dentistry for 6 years and then fell in love with kids, went back to school, and now I truly do what I want to do. So I've done this worksheet for myself many of times. I did an AEGD program, the residency, I've relocated, I've had 5 different positions. I've worked with faculty, I've worked with different schools and pre-dental societies. So I'm well familiar with all these type of goal things. And I have 2 cats and a husband. Okay, so specific on here, don't overwhelm yourself with all this, because I could see how that could easily happen. But let's get specific. So you want to make a goal. So a well-defined goal that's very detailed, exactly what you want it to be, and very clear. Not anyone else's goal. It could be simply as simple as I want to get in dental school. But just broad, too broad. What dental school? Which dental school? Where? Be very clear in your intentions. Do you want to truly go to any dental school, or no, the Southeast or the North or the West? So be very concise in that. And then in talking about that, the other W's that ask you questions to kind of have pinpoint that idea. Who needs to be involved in that? Is it you and a mentor, you and a parent, you and a colleague? What do you need to do? Track out all the steps. Don't keep the steps in your mind because it's easy. I want to get to dental school. I have to take the DAT and personal statement. No, write it down. Where will I reach this goal? How? What capacity? Timelines, things like that. And when? We'll talk about that later in time bound. When do you want to reach that goal by? Every little piece of the puzzle getting to dental school all has a timeline and a deadline. Get all those dates. Don't let it loosey-goose that, oh, ADSAS opens May 15th. May 15th, May 15th. No, you need your letters of recommendation, you need your personal statement. You need time to go over that personal statement. You have the DAT can't be taken on the ADSAS opening day. So that needs a different day. Like really go through everything. Don't keep things loosey-goose. And then why, of course, you want to achieve this goal. What is it for you? Is it your parents want you to be a dentist? Do you even want to be a dentist? Like, actually write out your goal. Because sometimes I'm just kind of like, man, what is my goal? Oh, I want to do this. But why? And I'm just like, oh, yeah. Why? Because it's prestigious? Okay. Because it makes a lot of money? So does something else. Find your why, not just because you want to. Like, because they're going to ask you that too. So, and these are things that take time. You don't have to hurry up and rush and get this all done tonight, this week. Give yourself grace, give yourself time, but be specific. Amen.
Amen. I amen that. And you hit it, you know, some new research was coming out too. I heard on a podcast about the why is so important that will really tie into you really achieving the goal to increase your chances. Because if you don't know your why, then there's just no clarity, it's not cemented in. So knowing that why you do it, always great. And I
And
wanted to say, well, as we were going through, you know, informal, if you have some questions, I think we should open up between each category, right, Dr.
yes,
Chenyi? Yeah,
yes.
any
So
questions, guys? Feel free to unmic. Ask Dr. Glavash. She's very
Yes.
specific.
And as she mentioned, like being like specific, like for most people that I know, for me, like I was like specific. I was like in the DAT on the organic chemistry section, I am aiming for a 20. In the DATs on the perceptual ability section, I'm aiming for a this. Or even for this semester, I'm like in this unit, I am aiming for this. That way it's easier for you to able to see it when you do achieve it. Because if you say I'm planning on doing well in the DAT, like what is your well? Is it a 17? Is it a 20? Is it a 21? So like put like
I'll get in that measurable part. Mm-hmm.
yes, put a value to it, like be that specific. Thank you so much, Dr. Miriam. Dr. Worrell, you have the
Oh, yeah,
next
I
one.
see Gabrielle has a hand up. Go ahead.
Hi, so sorry to interrupt. Is now a good time to start asking
Yeah,
Yes,
questions?
yeah.
yes, it is.
Yes, please.
Okay.
We're here for you.
All right. So, right now I'm a junior undergrad, and I'm trying to, build my dental resume. All I've got is that I'm just in organizations and clubs. I haven't done any shadowing yet. I wanted to know, when like applying to dental school, are dental schools looking that you're actually like immersed in dentistry? So say for example, if I get a job at an office, say as a receptionist, because I'm not qualified or certified to be an assistant or a hygienist, um, but I'm still, around the dentistry and shadowing, would they value it more if I became an assistant and got certified, or do they just like to see that, I'm trying and I'm, just in the realm of dentistry?
Anybody want to take that?
Dr.
I
Miriam.
can respond. I would say that overall it's super important for your resume and your application to be well-rounded, right? But in terms of the your experience in dentistry, there's plenty of people that just have multiple hours shadowing and not necessary that they went and got a certificate, became a certified assistant, and went to assist. Now it's different, especially because you're still in school. Now it's different if, for example, you have gap years or something like that, and you're like, oh, yes, I went to get my certification. But if you're already receiving your undergraduate degree and you're focusing on your education and getting, the good score on the DAT and doing all the things, they'll look like, oh, wow, you got X amount of hours shadowing while you were already a student. I feel like in terms of getting an additional certification to become an assistant, will it be a negative? No. Right. But is it necessary? I don't think it's necessary, especially because you're in school. I think it's a little bit different when they're looking at gap years and what did you do and what's going on here versus no, you're a student, you're a junior. At this point, they're looking at, okay, are you volunteering? Are you doing shadowing work? I don't think it's necessary to seek out another certification to become an assistant when you should be focusing on doing your thing with the DAT and making sure that your grades are right for that application. And also, well, Dr. Myriam, we're talking about like, okay, what's your timeline, right? Because if you are a junior, If you want to go straight into dental school, we're talking about your application is in 3 months, right? Is your application in 3 months? I don't know, right? Is your plan to go straight into dental school? Are you going to have a gap year, right? So we also have to answer all those questions because as a junior at this point, you know, we should actually have our DAT done already, been planning for our DAT or know when our DAT is scheduled, especially because if you don't have the score desired, you have to wait a certain amount of time before you take it again, right? If the application opens in May and you have to take it again, you're already hitting into that time frame. So we also have to think about when are you applying, or is your plan to go into dental school right after undergrad? Because if so, you should already, have hours by now. Because if we're thinking about it, if our application opens in May, what hours are you going to have between now and May? Now, can you bulk up a lot of hours? If you're dedicated, yes. But we have to think about that timeline and be very strategic with that timeline because once that application opens, they start looking at you, right? The application open, I know I applied many years ago, but when I was applying and the application opened in June, by August, I was already getting invited for interviews, right? They're not waiting until, oh, the deadline's in December. So we're going to invite people for interviews in December. No, the people who submit their application early, they're getting those first interviews. So we have to be strategic about our timeline. And that's not a discouragement if you are planning to go straight into it, but getting a certification at this point would not be necessary. For me, I would just say get into those offices and start shadowing, especially shadowing different offices, because that's what I did. So I was able to say, I've been to a GP office, I've been to ortho, I've been to endo. I know that this is what I want to do because I've been to various different offices. But I don't think it's necessary to go get a certification and get a formal job at a dental office. Now, if you want to, like you want a summer job or something like that, or you have extra time, then that's different. But I don't think it should impede in what you're doing in your undergraduate career, especially if you're already a part of extracurriculars.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate your answer.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Yeah,
Emma.
and I think too, because I know we'll hop on to the next categories, but when we go into our breakout sessions, talk to your mentor in more depth about that, because I think what I would advise as far as shadowing and your activities is going deeper versus wide, like in the organizations you're already a part of, like really spending a lot of time with that and developing your leadership there so you can have very rich stories to pull on that you can share in your statement and your interviews instead of trying to be involved in a whole bunch of other activities. But then also, you said South Florida, right, Gabrielle? You're in South Florida?
I'm in Las Vegas now. I just moved
Oh
here.
yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Haven't
it's
had a good
okay.
day. So yeah, so then we need to find an office for you that you can get into shadow if you don't have someone to connect. So okay, so we'll
Thank
just
you.
put a pin in that. All
I
Thank
got a
you.
right.
GP in Las Vegas, so we got you.
See?
That's great to hear. Thank you.
And
Yeah.
and before
We can
Dr.
direct message her.
Yeah, and before Dr. Worrell gets started with the Dr. Emma, if you could please just give us a brief introduction because we did not have the time to do introduction of the mentors before we started.
Okay, hello. I'm Dr. Emma Guzman. I'm a general dentist in Brooklyn, New York. And I met the lovely Dr. Hishaw because we were in the ADA Institute for Diversity together. And I've been practicing for 7 years.
Thank you so much. Dr. Worrell, that is the mentor of the year, the GID mentor of the year for last year. And I am trying to push him to get it again this year. Since anybody that I assign him to, anybody that is unmatched. Thank you, Dr. Worrell. If you can please talk a little bit more about the M in the SMART goals. And please don't forget to introduce yourself too and tell us all why you're amazing.
Good evening, everybody. Hi, Dr. Dentonio Worrell. I am a board-certified periapical neurosurgeon, also known as an endodontist. Okay. I'm trying to match Dr. Glavash. Dr. Glavash is the jokester. She cracks amazing jokes, so I got to try to match her today. So,
The
yes,
real
I'm board certified
superhero.
endodontist. I live in I'm currently living in Oahu, Hawaii, and the reason why is because I pursued a career in the military. So I'm a military dentist, and so I'm currently stationed in Oahu. But right now I'm actually in a hotel room in Washington D.C. because I came here for work. But anyway, I'm supposed to cover M today. Oh, and just so y'all know, I had already reached out to Gabrielle and told her that I already have her back because one of my classmates has two practices in Las Vegas. So anyway, plenty of help coming your way, Gabrielle. All right, so I'm supposed to cover M, which is measurable. So when you're talking about measurable goals, and this was alluded to in the previous SMART goal S, but you need to be able to assess your progress along the way. So you want to have something that, you want to set a goal that you can measure and track your progress. And you want to be answering questions such as like, okay, how much or how many or how will I know when it's accomplished? Or, so an example I would use is okay, DAT is a big part of your application process, right? But it's a standardized test. And hopefully everybody knows that really and truly the big key to standardized tests is just volume. Just volume. And I will share a clip in the YouTube, in the chat to that will kind of illustrate this. But how about this? Set a goal to say, I'm going to do, before I take the DAT, I'm going to do 50 exams. And then, so you have the number 50, and now you can break down, okay, how many more months do I have before the exam? Or how many weeks do I have before I plan on taking the test? And then you can set out, okay, I'm going to do one test a week or two tests a week or whatever. So that's an example that you can use for measurable. And you can track your progress because a month out or 2 months out, okay, how many exams have I taken? Am I close to meeting that goal of taking 50 exams before I actually test on the DAT. Now that may seem wild, right? But another aspect of setting goals is you want to set a goal that's going to give you a little bit of a challenge. You want to dream big. That's part of the process, okay? And if you fall short, at least you're still extending yourself and you're really pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. All right. You want me to cover the next one too, Luma, or are you good?
Dr. Mills will take care of the next one.
Okay, excellent.
Before he started speaking, I saw that Leah had her hand up. Did you still have a question?
I don't know if I meant to raise my hand. I think it was more so when they were applauding Dr. Worrell, so I was giving the applause for him being Mentor of the Year. But yeah, I don't have any questions right now. As Dr. Hishaw and everyone else knows, I'm usually just taking everything in, and then like if I have questions at the end, they know I'll bombard them with them if I have them.
Thanks, Leah.
So I guess I'm up with A, kind of following through with Dr. Worrell.
Tell everybody about you.
Oh,
how
about
often you are
myself first.
at Midwestern.
Sorry. I'm Dr. Denise Mills. I'm faculty clinical professor at Midwestern University in Glendale, Arizona. Private practice for 25 years, and I've been at Midwestern getting close to 15 years, Dr. Sergie's faculty. So if you have questions, I am on the admissions committee this year. I would like to circle back. We were talking about why, and then I'll come back to the A. But really sit down, write down all of your whys. Clearly define what your whys are. Not just because you want to get into dental school, but think about all of your whys. Who do you want to go back to serve? You want to be proud of yourself. Write them down. And I'm saying that because when you write that letter or you go for the interview, when you can express those whys to me and I truly hear it, I'm going to say yes to this person as opposed to say, well, my dentist when I was 5 and I just loved them. Although we love Dr. Hishaw, but really think about your whys that will come through with you during your interview and in your letters that you submit. And then I think I'm kind of piggybacking again on Dr. Worrell. Make sure you write down your list. Make sure you're pushing yourself, those goals you want to achieve, but then break them down. And I think we've kind of all touched on that. And Student Dr. Luma mentioned about not only doing well on the DAT, but she has decided what grade she wants to get, what score for each section. So write down your overall goals and then look at what you want to break down to individual achievable pieces, but push yourself.
Thank you so much. Did anyone have anything to add to that? Because that covered almost everything. Did anyone have anything to add to that? Okay, you're
No,
always welcome.
I guess the only thing I would say, I think everyone's here because the big goal to get in school, and I just want to reinforce that that is an attainable goal. No
Yes.
matter where you are or what your story is or your backstory is, we're moving forward and we're all here to make it attainable for you. So you can check that off, but you got to do the work. Just a reminder.
Yes. Thank you. And then Dr. Sergie, I think you're next.
Is that the R that we were talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Well,
Dr. Sergie, introduce yourself. She's our
Please.
secretary of the board.
here's
Sorry. Okay, not go because
I
she won't say.
am Susan Sergie, and here's Toothless, like How to Train Your Dragon. So we've just lost my other kitty just a day ago. He had brain tumor and seizures, and that was his last day with us. So we're all heartbroken right now. But that's why he's being so like don't want to leave my side. So just bear with me. So he's a big baby. We've so I'm basically I graduated from Midwestern. Dr. Mills was my mentor and is always still is. I just love her. Um, the I just came back to Alaska to the place where I was born. So talk about an attainable goal. If a little tiny Eskimo from the mouth of the Yukon River can go in and, you know, have her dream of becoming a dentist and further going into pediatric dentistry, I think anybody can do it. You know, if this is your dream, don't let anything stop you. You know, just if this is your heart, you're gonna do anything, which is R for relevant. So you have to see within your own eyes what the relevancy with you have a voice, you're relevant, you're basic, you're reasonable. It's a reasonable goal. It's a realistic goal. There's resources so out there, so abundant resources, and based on that, you do your part and you'll get results. So that's what our you all are relevant. So there you go. Yeah, it's all there.
Thank you, Dr. Sergie, for joining even in your time of mourning. Sorry for your loss. I just want to add that for like relevant, like there, as Dr. Hishaw had shared earlier, like relevant has to be with like, does it make sense to you? When you set your goals, it does not have to make sense to anybody but you. As you set those goals, they can be as outrageous as possible, so long as you've made the plan for them. So the relevance, it is not what is relevant to society, what is relevant to anybody else, but what is relevant to you. That is where it is like really important. A lot of our mentors have mentioned you should know your why. You should understand your why. It is like one of the first questions they ask in dental school, in residency application, why? Like if you know your why and you understand your why, it is relevant to you, it helps in so many other things that dentistry is about, if you understand your why. Because especially when it is not as smooth, it is not as glamorous as you think it is important to have that relevance of why am I doing this? Or how does this matter to me? And if we don't have any other questions at this time, we'll go back to Dr. G to talk to us about setting that limit.
Yes, so time bound is very short, sweet, not going to complicate it. Set a start, set a finish. Don't make it too complicated for yourself. Majority of the things you want to do already have a deadline. You want to do something, but they have either application day or application deadline You work with that and work backwards. Take what you have to do, split it, divide it into weeks, months, and the timeline will be naturally laid out for you based on your schedule. Don't compare yourself. It's really difficult to compare yourself to someone else because sometimes I tell myself, okay, next week I don't have class, so I'm going to use that time to study and do 3 practice exams. But then my friend's like, 3? Girl, I'm already on number 12. Then I would panic. Oh my gosh, I don't have 12 exams. I don't even have 12 exams. And she did 12 already, and I'm like gonna get 5 done by next week because I have 3 next week and I already did 2. And I'd panic. And then I'm just like, slow down. Like next week I have the whole week off. She has work, she works at Subway and Hollister and Charlotte Russe part-time. Like, so you're different people. In the end, we'll both get through 30 exams, but just focus on yourself. But the deadline's already set for you. Work backwards versus moving forward so you don't end up at the towards the end with a bunch of stuff to do and a lot of things you didn't realize you needed more time for. So start at the end and then work backwards. And then if it's okay that in the middle of it, if you're not seeing as much progress or too much progress, you scale back, reassess, and reestablish your timeline to get to your goal. That's okay. That happens. It's gonna be all right.
Thank you, Dr. Myriam. Thank you so much. And if you have any question regarding that, please do have it in the chat. But in the interest of time, and if there is no other question, I'll pass it on to Dr. Emma to talk about evaluating your goals.
So my letter is E for evaluate, and it's making sure that you set a date or set dates that you intend on revisiting your goal and your exam process. So this is just piggybacking off of what Dr. Myriam just went on. I agree with her wholeheartedly when it's go to the end and then plan back, right? So if we know what are our important dates, we need to know when is the deadline, right? So when do we have to apply, right? Or when does the application open? For me, that was my deadline, right? My deadline was when the application opened, especially because you have drafts of the application. So I'm not going to wait until I open the application to see what I need to have done. My essays were done, my recommendations were done. I knew who was writing everything. So literally when it opened, my application was submitted a week later, right? And so my deadline is when that application opened. And then what's your other deadline? Your DAT date, right? So especially if you want to give yourself that time, if you never took it again, to potentially take it over. I'm not sure if the rules are the same that they were before, but I know previously when I was taking it, you had to wait 90 days before you could take it again.
Yes.
Right. So if I'm waiting 90 days, the application opens over the summer, if it opens in May or June. So I'm like, okay, I need to take my DAT the latest 3 months before that, right? That would be my retake. So for me, I'm looking at 5-6 months before I plan on applying. Now, if we're not there, that's okay, right? But if we're sophomores, if we're freshmen, then you need to plan that ahead of time, even in terms of being strategic of what classes you're taking, right? I wanted to make sure I had all my required classes done before they even looked at my application. So there would be no question about anything, right? I had my hours done, my volunteer hours, my shadowing hours, all of that was done before I submitted my application. I was hanging out senior year. I can't even lie. But because everything was strategic from the classes I was taking from freshman year. So you set your dates and you're intentional about everything. Everything has a reason, right, as to why you're doing it. You're building that application, especially if we're here, we know we want to go to dental school. So every moment that you're spending your time, you need to be intentional with your extracurriculars. And it doesn't necessarily have to be focused on dental, right? If I'm a leader of a dance team, that's leadership skills. That has nothing to do with dentistry, but it's leadership skills. As dentists, we need to know how to be leaders. So when it comes to setting your dates, make sure you're giving yourself enough time and wiggle room so that you're not stressed, right? You have to look at the different schools that you're applying to. Different schools have different requirements. They may require different classes. It may be classes that are not a part of your major. One school may require biochem, the other school doesn't. And you're like, oh man, I didn't take that class. So we have to be very intentional about even what courses I'm taking in which semester to make sure that I'm set up properly when I apply, right? So all of this is just making a plan. Look at what your dates look like and look if realistically, am I going to go into dental school right after I graduate, right? If the plan is right after you graduate, then you're applying to dental school your junior year, right? Because the application cycle is a year before. So if we're at there and you don't feel like you're prepared, then you also have to set intentions and say, okay, what am I going to do during that gap year? Because they're going to ask me. Okay, so like I said, you want to make that plan if you have the time. Now, can we speak about specific circumstances if, oh, I haven't taken my DET yet, but I do want to apply this year? Can I? Absolutely. There's people who only take it once and they do great that first time. But that goes back to what Dr. Worrell was saying. How many practice tests did you take? And what are we doing to prepare for that? Because one test, two tests, three tests is not enough. Okay. So we want to make sure that we're preparing so that we could do what we need to do. So it's not as stressful. Being in this field, dental school, all the things, it's already stressful, but you can absolutely accomplish it.
Yes, thank you so much for that. As Dr. Emma has stressed, like you evaluate based on what you know. Like no one knows you better than you. So you evaluate based on what you know your abilities are. It does not mean that you should slack off. You can push yourself as far as you need to, but you evaluate each time you make your goals, you evaluate and see if you're where you think you can be or where you need to be. But are you planning for where you need to be? Or are you planning for where you think where you're comfortable? Because the most dangerous place to be is in your comfort level. That is where there is no growth. And to be in some place where there is no growth, it is not worth it. Does anybody have any questions regarding evaluating? Because we're down to our last letter, which is revising it. Does anybody have any questions regarding being specific, setting goals that you can measure, setting goals that you know you can achieve, or even if it's going to stretch yourself, setting goals that are relevant, putting the timeline on it, being able to evaluate it? Does anyone have any questions on that? Because the next
Oh, I was just gonna say on the evaluate on setting a date when you're gonna revise it, like I would literally say put that in your phone now as a calendar reminder.
reminder.
You know, I hope when we're all done, we'll try to have some actionable things that you guys can do immediately. Because again, that will make sure that you're following through, but like set those in a time. Like, what's the time frame going to be? Is it going to be 1 month? Is it going to be 3 months? Stuff like that. I guess depending on what the goal is, one of the mini goals is, is taking the DAT and or others. I know that's time dependent on when you're taking it, but yeah, I just wanted to say actually put it to action.
Yes, which comes with the
There's a
actionable part, and then like they break it down into like I think like for like the smarter goals, it is separated into several letters, but as you all will notice by now, they kind of roll into each other. Which the last one, which is the revising it, be able to like after you evaluate, now you set like your new goals or revise that goals, because as I said, your goal setting should always be fluid. It is not written in stone. But now you determine how often you have to change it. Um, if you all have realized, dentistry attracts a lot of type A personalities. No one can judge us as hard as we judge ourselves. Where when in revising your goals, I hope that you learn very early on to give yourself grace. Give yourself grace and be realistic about what I did. And that is where accountability comes in. Did I do this? What did I do to end up in this situation? And what can I do to change it? So once you have your goals, which is why I was asking that before we start, to get out the workbook. That way you can start putting your goals for this year in writing. But always, when you set that timeline and you evaluate it, look at what changes that you can make. I see some people are already, oh, is it too late to take my DAT in July? It is not too late. if that is going to be your one time that you're taking it. If you know that DAT is your one and only DAT that you're going to take. Taking it in July is not too late, but that is because you've evaluated your current timelines and you've evaluated your current study methods, and you know that if you take it at one time, that is the one time you're going to take it to get the scores that you need. One time is enough. The joke is that if you live well enough, one time is enough. It's the same thing. Either you prepare for success or you prepare to do it again, and the shorter road is preparing for success. So as you revise your goals, give yourself as much grace as you give everybody else. Give yourself the grace. As we've indicated several times, make sure it is attainable, make sure it's realistic. I say all the time, it should make sense only to you. But if you're going to set those outrageous goals for yourself, make sure you're willing to do the work to get to those outrageous goals. Dr. Laila is always on my case because each time I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to like the extreme end. There's like no middle ground. It's either I don't do it or I do the most outrageous part. And I try not to find the middle ground, which is why please don't be like me. It doesn't help. It gives you gray hair in a very young age. Give yourself as much grace as you want. Be able to reevaluate, revise. No timeline is set in stone. You can achieve a whole lot more if you give yourself a roadmap. However, every road has some roadblocks and detours. So when you are evaluating and revising, take into account those roadblocks, take into account those detours, because so long as the end goal does not change, the path does not matter. So long as that end goal that you're trying to achieve, so long as it does not change, the path does not matter. Just keep working on it.
Can I say something too? And hopefully this helps somebody. Your timeline is your timeline. You don't have anybody else's timeline in this process, right? If you know that you want to become a dentist, right? Then the timeline doesn't matter in the end, right? Sometimes it's better to slow down than to speed up. I mean, sometimes it's better to slow down so you can speed up. You know, sometimes, you may be in a situation where, right, it's just not realistic to try to cram it all in to get in, because you want to keep up with, like, in your mind, you want to keep up with your peers, or your timeline is your timeline. And if it's for you, it's going to be for you. But sometimes I've seen this before where people, they rush the process and then they fail, and then they end up having to wait out a year and come back again. I'm sure all the other mentors can wait in those kind of situations. I'm speaking to you, Derek. You got to really evaluate stuff sometimes when you're trying to do too much. And I know too, when I was younger, I used to, sometimes I'd be pushing the envelope, but you it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to compare yourself. Comparison is the thief of joy. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. You stay on your timeline and you do what's realistic for you. I'm not saying not to push yourself, but if you're pushing yourself and it's starting to become unrealistic, and then you're in a situation now where you can't take the DAT, and then you don't have the opportunity to retake it again, and you're talking about pushing it to the point where schools may get your score before. No, sometimes you just got to slow down, take a deep breath. And if it means that, you may have to apply the following year, it doesn't matter, because you're still going to get to the end point. And sometimes you're going to get to the end point in a better state if you slow down. And so whoever needs to hear that, please take it.
And
that was golden. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Dr. Worrell preaching over here.
Yes. And like they say, in order for an arrow to go far, you need to pull it back.
Oh.
The further back you pull it, the further that arrow will go. So if you have to pull yourself back, do pull yourself back. And when Dr. Worrell talks about timelines, I know I've shared this with some people. My timeline was a few days before I turned 35. I went online. I went to a group and I'm like, I am a 35-year-old mother of 3 boys and I want to go to dental school. And a majority of the responses were like, you're too old to do this. If you're already in a comfortable career, stick to it. But I was like, I am, and then after that, I'm like, I am a 35-year-old mother of three boys and I want to do oral surgery. And I still hear that all the time. They're like, how are you going to do with your kids? How are you? But they're like, now I'm in dental school. And when I meet people, I'm like, I am a 39-year-old mother of three boys and I'm going to do oral surgery. To most people, that is like the height of insanity. But if your goals do not scare you, like if they don't make you stop and think, what in the heavens? Maybe you're not putting your maybe you're underestimating yourself, but you have to pull back before you shoot. You're not on anybody's timeline. A lot of my professors are younger than me, but this is my journey. This is my path. It does not matter. I'm doing what I want to do. So if you're on Student Doctor Network, if you're on all those Reddit forums where people are talking about, I am ready, I am this, I am that, do not compare with anybody. It is your goal, it is your plan, it is your timeline. And we sent the workbook as a PDF. You can make as many copies as you like. You can make it and change it as often as you need to, but so long as the destination remains the same, make those plans to achieve it.
Oh, last thing too, because Kim put in there too as well. Sometimes there's also a financial burden, right?
Yes.
And we've seen this before where people put out thousands of dollars trying to rush the process to apply, because they think they need to get it on this year.
Mhm.
And then they still end up having to apply the following year, right? And now
Mhm.
you're in a financial bind. You have to factor it all in and then look at the big picture and figure out, okay, does it make sense? Is this timeline truly realistic? Or am I better just slowing down, getting all the pieces in place, and then applying a little later on? And it's okay because what? You're still going to get to the same end goal.
Mhm.
Okay, last point.
Ooh, can I add? Because this is so good. Well, two things. Like I love Luma how you were talking about journey, because it is a journey. We think the destination is dental school, but that's not it. You're getting into a career that you're going to, serve and give for a long time and leave a legacy. And you may not be practicing until your dying days, but the legacy you've left and the patients that you serve. I mean, this is an ongoing thing, and mentoring and some stuff that we all do outside of the four walls of our practice or our school that we teach in. So just know it is a journey, and this could be just a little blip in it if you need to take that pause. And who knows what wonderful miracle blessings can happen in that pause. You might meet the love of your life. It might take you into a whole nother direction of where you're going to live. Like if you had rushed that, you may have missed it. But also too, when you're talking about, was it Dental Student Network and all that? Yeah. You need to put boundaries around people and noise that might be discouraging you because they're going to be everywhere. Everybody knows from dental school. There are those like, would you get on your OChem quiz and whatnot, and this and the other, and always trying to compare and talking about, how great they did just to kind of psych everyone out. But if you're hearing that, if you're seeing that kind of toxicity in the groups that you're associating yourself with, then you need to cut it out. There are other people that align with you better. We're here. Get what you need to get out of those kind of organizations and your resources and stuff like that. But if you feel kind of sick and heavy in your stomach after you've gone on one of those chat groups, then you need to get out quick.
Okay.
So that's
And
just my 2 cents.
and Dr. Laila has shared several times, and me going through the process right now, the whole process of like dental school is more of a mindset than anything. It is in training your mindset to be able to accept criticism, whether it is positive, negative, in any form it is provided it. It is training your mindset to be able to look at chapter 1 to 12 that you need to learn by Thursday and be like, yep, that is possible. It is like more of a mindset thing than anything, which is one of the first things I talked about. Like, if you have decided that you're going to pursue dentistry, you need to start training your mind. Training your mind, like not just what you say, not just what you say, not just who you hang out with, but what you read, what you are like trying to tell yourself. Like, train the voice that speaks to you. Train your self-talk to the way that it grows you and not that it challenges you or that it breaks you down. Because as I shared, it's a lot of type A personalities. We are harder on ourselves than anyone will ever try to be. It is important to train yourself if this is what I'm going to let stick, or if this is what I'm going to try to see if there is something for me to gain from this. Because if there is no information or knowledge that you're going to gain from it, please put it to the side and find something that can grow you. It is a lot about mindset. And Dr. Emma says people be lying. Yes, people do lie. People do lie. I have the time, I'm like, how could half of you get 100 and the class average is 70?
Right. People be lying.
The math is
You
not.
are not on an island. There are plenty of people that are struggling and that have tutors on the side. And the only people who know that are the other people in the tutoring sessions with them because no one talks about it. Everyone's getting an A, everyone's doing great. Dental school is wonderful. No, that's not the reality.
No, God,
People
no, I'm
are
one of the ones that actually failed by 1% and I had to retake a quarter.
Me
So
too.
I was part
But
of
no
the
one
first
spoke
class.
about it.
You know, everybody
We
knew
only
my
knew.
life's an open book.
Everyone's like,
So
why you here? Why you here in July? Why you here in July? Why you here in July? Because school finished last week, so why are we all here? Right? But no one spoke about it, right? No one knows why if people are in remediation, no one knows. We just know because we happen to see each other on campus and we're like, school ended last week. Why are you still here? Because you failed the class. I'd be like, I failed the class too, and no one knew that either. So we all here together. But everyone thinks that we live on an island. So no one talks about it because everyone talks about how we're all doing so well.
Yes.
Right? You're not on an island.
Yeah.
No, everybody knew I failed. So
So my comment to students, a fail is a first attempt in learning.
Yes.
And you'd rather have that fail earlier in life while you're in dental school before you get out into your practice.
Yes. Yes.
I would love to say one more thing. I was doing a lot of reading on imposter phenomenon, and you will get into your mind thinking, I can't do this. I don't know if I'm capable of doing this. I'm not sure if I can do it. Am I cut out for it? And you have to move beyond that self-talk and really consider that, yes, you are. Sometimes it may take a little longer, but as long as you have that goal, you'll get there. But don't let yourself go into a spiral thinking about, like you said, comparing to somebody else. They got this, they got that a score. I didn't get this score. I didn't practice enough. Just, you have to stop the self-talk to let yourself spiral to where you don't want to go. You can do it.
Yes. Right, Dr. Worrell, at least perforate your root canal in school and not in practice. You're on mute.
I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry.
At least perforate the canal in school and not in practice.
Yes. School's a better environment to do that in.
Yes. Yes. So if we are going to come back to like the joint room at 7:45, so if it is okay, we will go ahead and do the breakout rooms. Just give me a moment to arrange that, but please do feel free if you have a question to bring it up right now.
Kim, did you arrange it already? I think. But
No,
also in the breakout room, I was just gonna say,
should we do 3 breakout rooms, 2 mentors and 3 mentees, or is that too much? Too many?
because
Or
we
you
don't
could,
have 3 breakout rooms.
Yeah, and so we just want you guys, we want to help you work through
The
your
worksheet.
worksheet. Mm-hmm.
Hello. I apologize.
It's
I
okay.
don't think I received. Wait, let me go back to the email, but I don't think I received a worksheet. Was it also in the same link as the Zoom sign up?
It was. I will go ahead and post it again in the chat. Let me just find it.
Okay.
I have it somewhere.
Yeah. And sorry, I just noticed we didn't update the year at the end. So it's
Is
2024.
it on the more resources in the link that was emailed?
Yes, it's
Okay,
in the
so
more
I'll just
resources. There is the DID Smart Goal Planner. I thought
all
I
right,
sent it
um,
in the PDF.
I'll open the rooms and you can join it when you're ready.
Thank you.
And then Kim, can you maybe email it to Zanel?
Okay,
I
I'll
don't know if
find
she
her
got it.
email.
virtual membership
Okay, thank
handle.
you.
Uh,
It should say Smarter Goals workbook or worksheet.
Yes, I'll forward it to her.
okay,
Okay,
thank you
she's
so
gonna get it to you. Check your email. Okay, awesome.
much.
I'm going to room one.
Everyone's been assigned.
Oh, oh, good. We're still here. Thanks for coming. Let me talk. Okay.
We're
Well,
still
I'll
waiting
share
for
my.
the two rooms.
Yeah, I thought it said we had to wrap up our conversation. I didn't mean to rush anybody. My goal is not to procrastinate in doing my patient charts at the end of the day. So what happens? They get piled up. Then I have to rush home for a meeting or webinar, and then I'm exhausted and tired. And then I'm talking about my goal that I'm not going to procrastinate on my charts anymore. And then I get so exhausted and tired, and then I don't do it that night. And then the next day is another crazy busy day, and now I have more charts that are not done. So I sharing it as my accountability partner. So you can say, hey, Layla, how are you doing with your charts? That's what I'm going to do. And I guess I can measure it by how many are outstanding each day when it goes in there. Yay. Hi, everybody. How's everybody? Any light bulbs go off? Any aha moments? Anything you want to share?
I think one of my people wanted to ask Dr. Emma a question, I think.
Mhm. Anybody? Maybe answered it.
Did everyone come back?
Oh, am I frozen? Frozen.
No, you're not frozen, Dr. Laila.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I think for my group, they have a
Hmm.
routine. They like the common theme was like reevaluating, like understanding where it is you are right now and how to go forward. Which I will reiterate, if you can give yourself as much grace as you give everybody else, it will make the process a whole lot easier. And also for a lot of us, we consider when it doesn't work, like I try to remind it is not that it's not that you failed, you just did not pass. We try to we try to like harp on like why we did not pass or in what capacity we did not pass. If we could just take a little more time to do like some reflection and see what we thought worked and how we did not work and how we can change that, it will help us make our goals more possible. And again, keep those goals outrageous. Make them as big as possible. When you think of your goals, it should scare you. Like getting a 30 on the DATs.
Yeah.
But do put in the
I'm
work
trying to
for it.
remember. Oh. I'm trying to remember a definition I heard. You know, in that podcast I shared with you, it said like this researcher made the definition really easy. A goal is a desirable outcome that you have to do something to get.
Chief.
I mean, it's like really basic, but it's just so you got this desired outcome that you want to get from this goal, but in order to get it, you have to do something.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I mean, I hope from the discussion and what you know you have to do, what is the one thing you're gonna do tonight to make it, one step closer to your goal. Did
I just
anyone
want
said
to
anything?
No,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to add on what you said, Dr. Hishaw, about procrastination. I feel
Oh yeah.
sometimes people might do it just because they're overwhelmed, they're burnt out, they're tired, they have too many things going on, and they have a little like paralysis in terms of, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to sit here in a way. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why this workshop is important because it will help these students break down their goals and make it more manageable and each individual step more attainable. So then there won't be this overwhelming feeling of despair, like there's so much to do. I don't know where to start. So I'm just going to sit here and just kind of wait because I don't know where to begin or what to even where to start, right? So
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like this might help a lot of students. And so yeah, this is a great webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. And yes, for everybody has met Kim. Kim is our director of marketing and communications. We love Kim. She gets us all where we need to be and knowing what we need to know and putting our best foot forward. So thank you, Kim. Thank you for sharing those words and being the mastermind behind this webinar on keeping all our break rooms going and signups and everything. So thank you.
Thank you.
But yeah, when you were saying all those things like procrastination, overwhelmed, burned out. I think we can all say we've been in those shoes before, and I know just as a student, pre-dental student, preparing for dental school, it is overwhelming. And it's probably, I hope it didn't, I know I saw someone in the chat, we were talking about all the nightmares. It does seem scary. It's like, oh my God, do I really want to go to dental school? And just to think of all the hurdles you have to jump over to get to it is like, it's just easier to say, maybe I'll just take the easier way out and not do it. But I commend all of you for being here because actually you just took the first step towards that goal by just being here. So I just want to thank you and everyone here, all my colleagues, and of course for student Dr. Chenyi for putting this together. But thank you. I didn't let you close it out. I just said my piece and just so grateful. My heart is full.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to the mentors. I don't think you all realize how amazing it is that people give up their Wednesday night, especially with how busy dentistry can get, like to give up their Wednesday night to help you and and for half of them, they have to introduce themselves to you because you don't know them. But they're so invested in your success that they'll give up their Wednesday night. Or even like Dr. Sergie after losing a family member, being here and being willing to share. And there is more of them. Like a lot of the mentors do not have the time to be here, but they're rooting for you. And if you are like hesitant that it did not work out, this is not going the way I want to be. I want you to go. Just remember that there are a lot of people out there to help you. I used to joke that if you build it, they will come. But then I realized that now with a lot of internet live and a lot of people be lying online and things like that, a lot more people would not be as daring as I was just going on Facebook and trying to find someone to be a mentor. However, I am hoping that you will see that there are some people that are actually genuinely interested in your success. So do take advantage of it. Not as I mentioned that everyone can be on here, but we do have um I will say a fairly big social media presence. We do have some people that will be willing to help you. And the worst that can happen is for someone to say no. But for the most part, especially with the community and the family that I have found with diversity in dentistry, they'll always be like, let me ask someone, let me check on this.
Mhm.
Take
Mhm.
advantage of that because the easiest part in your dental journey is getting into dental school. You need to be able to text Dr. Worrell at 2 a.m. this time and be like, I am about to blow this place up. This is it. Or randomly call Dr. Laila and just burst out crying and have someone understand it. And it doesn't even end after dental school. Early
It
career
doesn't, yeah.
dentistry is no joke. It is no joke at all. Like it is like a progressive thing of like finding that help, finding someone that will light the path for you, finding someone that will hold your hand. And it starts from as little as setting a goal. As you set your goals, make sure you have a continuity to your goal. Because if your goal is just to do well on the DAT, then what? If your
Mhm.
goal is to get into dental school, then what? So as that's why I said when you print out this PDF, print out several copies of it. Our whole life is not just dentistry. We all have other aspects of our life. Hopefully, this will help you in other aspects in setting those goals in that aspect. But I will always advocate for giving yourself as much grace as you give everybody else, if not more. Be being able to evaluate and revise as much as you feel you need to. And just setting your goals should only make sense to you. I'll say time and time again, your goals should only make sense to you. But as outrageous as you want your goals to be, put in the work. It is daunting to study for the DATs, but the DAT is just one of the exams in dental school. So as much as that seems challenging, no, the dental school is a lot more. So it is very important to build these habits now before you have to use it. As Dr. Worrell will say, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So continue, continue to build on it. Print as many copies of this as you think that you need. Adapt it to any area of your life that you think that you need. And we are so
Oh,
fortunate
yeah.
that we have so many people that are willing to help us. Next month, we're going to be talking about budgeting for Isaiah, student Dr.
Yeah.
Lewis,
Yeah.
student Dr. student Dr.
In his
Benson.
nice apartment.
Uh, we like once you get in, you don't have to think about moving. You like those scrubs are not cheap, and you're in scrubs all day, every day. Your tennis shoes need to be comfortable. Those all cost money. Even the process of applying and reapplying costs money. Next month, we're going to be talking about like the budgeting and the money for that. So if you can do, join us. If you want to get like an idea of what will be covered, you can watch the previous videos on YouTube. But please take advantage of people that don't know you, that are invested in your success.
Before we leave, if you guys are comfortable with it, if you come off the camera, we can do a quick shot. You know me, I like my screenshots. So come on off if you can. We're just gonna do a quick one if you can. Yay! Thank you, thank you, thank you. It takes your name off. Here's everybody.
Thank
Thanks, because I didn't get
you.
to see the other rooms. All right. Just make me so happy. And Mama Mentor so happy right now. Okay. Are we all ready? Oh, hold on.
Everyone say cheese.
Hey, wait, let me close this. My chat is open. Hold on. Okay.
Where's
And
Toothless?
yeah, where's the cat? Yay. It looks like toothless. One, two, three, cheese. Awesome. And I got the worksheet to the side of it. Wow, this is great. I can't wait to see you guys again. I really want to have a chance to meet all of you. So come back for budgeting next month, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, I think that's it. Any other last quick questions? No? Well, I get you guys. I know it's late on the East Coast, so just remember, we did it. So can you. You guys have a great night. Can't wait to see
Have a
you
good
achieve
night.